Hey guys, the Brink here, and today I'll be doing a live Starcraft commentary, this time on a specific replay, actually. So, this is me in the red, and this is my opponent over here in the blue. Now, he is Zerg, and I am Terran, straight off the bat. It's two different races. There's three races in Starcraft, Zerg, Terran, and Protoss, and I am Terran, like I said, and he is Zerg. There's a few things you should know before we even get into the game, alright? One is, this is an Overlord. Now, what an Overlord does is, see these numbers up here, this is the supply count. Now, you can't build more units than your supply count allows, and I have 11 SCVs, and I have a supply cap of 11. I have 10 SCVs, and I have a supply cap of 11. That means I'll need to build supply depots, which are these, to be able to get more units. And when this finishes, I'll have a supply cap of 19, letting me build 19 units, so on and so forth. Anyway, this guy, instead of building supply depots, he has these, which are Overlords. Now, what an Overlord does is, like I said, it basically is a supply depot, but it can move because it's a unit, so you can use it for scouting and such. And another thing that you're really going to need to know is scouting is very important, knowing what your opponent is doing at all times, right? Because if you don't know what your opponent's doing, you don't know if he's attacking, you don't know if he's, turtling up or defending. You don't know anything about him. In StarCraft, it's a game of knowledge. So right now, you're going to see his drone is coming over to scout me. You really don't need to know a lot of what's going on. I'll explain it to you later in later videos, blah, blah, blah. But right now, it's important to know that what he's doing is scouting with his drone. Now, this drone is basically looking at me going, he has a refinery, which is letting me get gas, and he has a command center, and he has a barracks going up. Really nothing out of the ordinary. I did get my refinery earlier than one normally would, but so now he knows if we go to his vision, hey, guess what? This is what he has. Now, he doesn't know anything else about me. He doesn't know that I'm putting up this barracks. And by the way, barracks are used to build units, which, like, basic attack units. But he doesn't know that I have a second one going up, which means he doesn't know that I'm being more aggressive than I actually am, although it's really not that important for him to know. So, what else? Well, he's putting up a second base, and I think what else you should know is that these are SCVs. Just, very basic things. SCVs mine minerals, and, minerals are used to buy things. Basic. Anyway, getting back onto the point of the video, he's sending Overlords all around the map to make sure that he has the best scouting information possible. Now, Overlords, the dangerous thing about them is they can be killed. Now, they can be killed by units such as Marines, which, obviously just shoot them to death. And, if you lose your Overlords, you're going to lose that supply they give you. Just like if I lose this supply depot, I'll go back down to supply gap of 21, which means that I can't build any more units until I build another one. Now, this is going to play a really big role in this game, because I actually do kill a lot of his Overlords, as you'll see later. Anyway, I'm sending a Reaper over, which, this is my version of scouting. I didn't have to build a Reaper, but it's a very fast unit, and it can do lots of harass. Now, he saw that coming over because he had an Overlord placed right here, and he also sees the next two coming over, which he can assume I have two barracks now, which is nothing special. Anyway, I've got a Reaper hitting this, and he's putting up defenses. Now he gets a Queen out, and that's enough to drive my Reaper away. And this Overlord right here, once again, can now see that I have 3 Reapers in position to attack him. This is, once again, important. Anyway, so he's sitting right here, he's, I shoot this Spinecrawler up a bit. Now, I can actually kill this Queen. And this doesn't really play into the fact that of information getting, but it does play into the fact that Reapers are a very important harass unit. And harassing is very important because it can do damage to your opponent when they least expect it. Anyway, he sits his Queen here, and I end up losing one of my Reapers because my Reaper control wasn't that good there. Either way, I send my Reapers back, and now you're going to see another important part of this. By the way, his Overlord, I think, let's see. His Overlord does see that my Reapers are sitting here, which means he knows that I'm not going back in for another attack. So I send my Reapers over here, I'm sitting on, and I come over to the Zelnaga Tower. Now, the Zelnaga Tower, we're going to look at my vision here. Zelnaga Tower is going to let me see all of this range, which is slightly brighter than the rest of it. That means that I can see anything within this range, obviously. That is another thing that plays a huge role. So, in the meantime, I'm building up a force with 3 barracks. I have a second base online, or up, period. And I'm building marines, and I'm getting a factory up to build other things. So, now is where the Zelnaga Tower is going to start to come into play. We're going to switch to my vision. What can I see? Well, I can see...
Complete.
In just a second, let's speed it up.
Add-on complete.
I'm building troops, blah, blah, blah. Now I can see this Overlord coming in. Now, what an Overlord can do is it can sit over these buildings. I'm going to slow it down again. It can sit over these buildings and not be seen. Unfortunately, I have the Zelnaga Tower, which means I can still see it. So now, I'm like, well, you know what? We're going to go out. We're going to get rid of his scouting information, because Overlords are very useful for scouting. We're going to get out here with our 5 Marines and go kill this Overlord. Now, we're going to look back into everyone's vision. He really doesn't have any units to kill. He doesn't have any offensive units. All he has is the Spine Crawler, which is not going to do anything. So, I'm going to kill this Overlord, generally uncontested. He has 3 more, but I don't actually know about them. Now, this is very important, but, you know, you'll see later. Anyway, he's got another Overlord coming in, and now I see 2 more. That is important. Now, obviously, he has plenty of supplies, so I'm not going to be supply blocking, or rather... Supply blocking, by the way, is the term for making it so he can't build any more units. Now he is. He is actually supply blocked himself, and this is going to come into play huge. Because I've got these units right here, and I see 3 Overlords right for the picking. I'm like, well, you know what? I guess I'm just going to send out my Marines, and my Marauders, and my Widow Mine, that's what these units are. I'm going to get over here, and I'm going to take away all of his map vision. He's not going to know when my attack is coming. He's not going to know anything. So, looking at everyone's vision, well, he actually still does have an Overlord here, so he knows this is happening. But, it still doesn't prevent the fact that this is going to damage him severely. Now he is supply blocked, which means that he has red numbers, which means that he can't build any more units until he builds more Overlords. Also, I'm going to kill this one, which is going to even more heavily supply block him. There you go. Now he needs to build 2 Overlords before he can build anything. So I'm going to keep my Reapers on this Zelnaga Tower to make sure that I have the maximum amount of unit or awareness possible. So he's putting up a 3rd base, but honestly, it's really not affecting anything right now because he wasn't able to build units until he built more Overlords. And looking at the units lost tab, you can see that he's lost 650 minerals, which is, by the way, these are minerals, and that's what drones or SCVs are mining. He's lost 650. I've only lost 137. That's huge. Anyway, so I've got my Widow Mine sitting here, and I'm gearing up for my attack, because I have done significant damage to him, and he hasn't been able to do any to me, really. So, I'm going to get my units out, and, you know, just basically gear up for the attack, which comes very, very soon. I'm going to get some medevacs out, which are going to heal my units, and, just overall, he's finally getting this 3rd base up, but that's way after he built the 3rd base, which means there was a huge amount of time where he wasn't doing anything. Now, let's go back a little. Let's see what happened there. Alright? We can see that, if we speed this up, we're going to look at my vision, and I have no idea that this attack is going to come. But, Zelnaga Tower here, and Widow Mine here, are going to let me see that. See, everything... I saw that before he was even coming, because I had the Zelnaga Tower showing me what I could not usually see. So anyway, back to all of his vision. He still has an Overlord here, so he did know that I was moving out. And he has an Overlord here, which means that he's going to know when I approach. So, even though I did kill a lot of his Overlords, I didn't kill enough to make a huge difference on map control. But I did know... like, a lot of what he was doing. I knew that he wasn't going on the attack because I had the Zelnaga Tower, and you need to go past the Zelnaga Tower to, you know, obviously show that you're attacking. So I bury this Widow Mine, it gets off a nice shot on these Banelings, killing them. Basically, at this point, I'm probably going to win. Because he doesn't have very much of a force, all he has is these 2 Spine Crawlers and these few Roaches, and, he's trying to build more units very, very, you know, quickly. But he doesn't exactly have, you know, actually he has a lot of minerals to do it, but he doesn't have that much time, he doesn't have that many production facilities, so he can't do it that quickly. Now, it's getting down to the point where it looks like I'm gonna win, so he's gonna make his final effort to kill me. And right now I'm just kind of rampaging through his base, and I guess I'm gonna use this time to reflect on the fact that, hey, scouting information is very important. Because I knew that he wasn't going on a very offensive strategy because I had the middle of the map and I didn't see an offense coming, I knew that I could do a very, you know, I could do a basically very aggressive build that can cut some corners and make sure that I don't really have to worry about an attack coming. I can focus more on macroing up, or rather building more bases, blah blah blah, even though I'm only on 2 bases, but I was able to get up more troops and more stuff than I usually would because I didn't have to worry about him going in for any kind of attack. So I kill all these overlords, meaning he can't build any more units, and that's pretty much game right there. So he GG's, although he does say that my strategy was cheap. You know what? I'm just gonna put up my hands and say that I'm proud of my play in this game. Either way, that was, you know, that was it, and I hope I accomplished the goal in this video, which is not exactly that you know all about Starcraft, but you do know what kind of a game it is, and that's knowing what your opponent is doing, getting inside of their head. It is like chess in that manner. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you continue to watch my StarCraft 2 content. And probably going to be doing some live commentaries, maybe while I'm actually playing, because this was during a replay, as you can see over here. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and peace. Keep gaming.